بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. How are you, my students? I hope that you're happy and healthy and ready for today's lesson, which is Unit 2 self-reflection. This is the final lesson, Unit 2. From the name itself, self-reflection. Reflect on yourself, to give yourself feedback about the unit. But before we do that, let's open our workbooks on page 99. 99. So of course you can see these pictures here. What do you see here? Yes, here this is a picture of a glass of milk. This is a picture of eggs, ice cream, bananas, and a cookie. So exercise M here. Mark the nouns with C for count, N for non-count. So if it is countable or count noun, just put the letter C for count. And if it's non-count or uncountable noun, put the letter N for non-count. So let's begin with number one, meat. Meat. Is it count or non-count? Meat. Is it C or N? Yes, it's non-count. You can't say meats. You can't say meats. So it's non-count. Number two, banana. This is an easy one, of course. Banana, of course, it's countable. You say one banana, two bananas, three bananas, and so on. What about eggs? Eggs, from the word itself, you can see the S here. Eggs, one egg, two eggs, or as in the picture here, four eggs. Number five, milk. Milk. Do we say milks? Of course not. We say a glass of milk, two glasses of milk, and so on. But the milk itself, it's non-count. What about sugar? What about sugar? Do we say one sugar, two sugars? No, of course. No, of course. You can maybe say one cube of sugar, two cubes, and so on, or one spoon, but you can't count the sugar itself. What about cookie? Cookie. So number six is C. C is for count, not cookie. You can count them. One cookie, two cookies, and so on. What about the ice cream? Ice cream. So ice cream is non-count, of course. You can't say two ice creams. You say maybe one cone of ice cream, two cones. You just count the thing that the ice cream is in, one cone or one bowl of ice cream, but not the ice cream itself. You can't count it. What about juice? Juice, of course, you can't count it, just like the milk. All liquids, you can't count them, but you can count the container they're put in, a glass, and so on. What about the final one? Pineapple. So pineapple is, of course, countable. One pineapple, two pineapples, and so on. So moving on to exercise N, page 99 here. Look at the picture in M. Write about the foods. So look at the picture in M. Write in exercise M, of course, meaning write about the foods. So of course you'll be writing question and answer if they are there or not. So the first one is already done for you. Is there any juice? So for juice, of course, here, is there any juice? Because any is with question. Very good. No, there isn't any juice. Why did we put any here? Because it is negative. Very good. No, there isn't any juice. Pineapple, because pineapples are countable, we say are. Are there any pineapples? Are there any pineapples? Yes, there are some pineapples. Why did we say some here? Because it's countable and it is an affirmative sentence. If it's negative like here, it would be any. No, there aren't any pineapples, but because it's affirmative, we said yes, there are some pineapples. So now I think you got the hang of it. You know what you need to do in this question. So let's answer them together. Number 1, meat. Meat. So how do we ask about meat? Yes, is there any meat? Any non-count, we say is as if it's singular. Is there any meat? So whether you say yes or no. Yes, there is some meat. If it's no, no, there isn't any meat. Yes, there is some meat. Number 2, eggs. Eggs, this is count. So do we say is or are? Very good. Are there any eggs? Are there any eggs? And we used any because it is a question. Are there any eggs? Yes, there are some eggs. Number 3, ice cream. Ice cream. Very good. Is there any ice cream? Is, because ice cream is non-count. Is there any ice cream? Yes or no? So any of them will say, yeah, no, there isn't any. We used any because it is negative. There isn't any ice cream. Sugar. Sugar, do we say is or are? Yes, is, because it's non-count. Is there any sugar? Yes, there is some sugar. Exercise O, read each group of words. Write the word which does not belong. So we have 4 groups of words, so you have 4 words. Try to figure out which word from the 4 that doesn't belong to the group itself. So 3 words will have the same group and 1 word will be outside the group. So try to distinguish or try to figure out which word from the group that doesn't belong. So let's answer this one together. Page 100, exercise O, read each group of words. Write the word which does not belong. So the first one here is margarine, sugar, vanilla, spoon, cocoa. So margarine, sugar, vanilla, spoon, cocoa. So I think this is an obvious one here. Yes, it's spoon. Why? Because all of these are ingredients. Margarine, sugar, vanilla, and cocoa are ingredients, but not the spoon. The spoon is a utensil. So I think now you know how this exercise works. Number 2, oven, bowl, chop, pan, cup. So which word doesn't belong here? Oven, bowl, chop, pan, and cup. So I think this is also an easy one. It's chop, because all of these are things in the kitchen. You know, the oven, the bowl, the pan, the cup, all of these you found in the kitchen, but not the chop. The chop is an action. To chop is to cut some vegetables and so on. Number 3 here, stir, eggs, add, mix, mash. Stir, eggs, add, mix, and mash. Of course, this is an easy one. It's eggs, because all of these are actions. To stir, to move the soup with a spoon, to stir it. Add, to add something. To mix something, and to mash, like to mash a potato, for example. So all of these are actions except for eggs. Number 4, half, minutes, a quarter, degrees, taste. Half, minutes, quarter, degrees, and taste. So which word doesn't belong here? It's the word taste. So because all of these are measurements, half and a minute, quarter, and also degrees, all of these are measurements, but not the taste. The taste is an action also. Exercise P here, complete the recipe with a word from O. O. More than one answer may be possible. So we have the ingredients here. They have the ingredients here: 3 to 4 cups of margarine, 1.5 cup of sugar, 1.5 cups of sugar, 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla, 3 eggs, 2/4 of a cup flour, 1/2 of dark cocoa, 1/2 of teaspoon baking powder, and 1/2 of teaspoon salt. So these are the ingredients. Here are the directions what to do. Number 1, mix the margarine, sugar, and vanilla in a, so we mix them in a what? In a cup? Of course not. We mix them in a bowl. We mix them in a bowl. Add the eggs and mix well. After that, the flour. So what do we do with the flour? After that, add the flour, cocoa, baking powder, and salt, and mix well. Put the mixture into a baking. So we put all this mixture into a what? A baking pan, and bake it in a hot at 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So in a hot what? Yes, in a hot oven. So we take the pan and we put it in a hot oven, 100 degrees Celsius, for 40 to 45 what? Hours? No, of course, to 40 to 45 minutes. So bake it in a hot oven at 100 degrees Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit for 40 to 45 minutes. So jumping on to today's lesson, the objective is to write your feedback and self-reflection. Write your feedback. So to give yourself notes about the unit. So this is the chart here. Things that you liked about Unit 2. Things that you liked about Unit 2. What did you like? Maybe you liked the theme of cooking and eating, or maybe the grammar, the reading lesson, and so on. Things that I didn't like very much. Things that you didn't like. Maybe the grammar lessons were pretty hard. The four-meaning function, maybe it was hard for you, and so on. Things that I found easy in Unit 2. Things that I found difficult in Unit 2. So this is a really important chart here. What did you find easy in Unit 2? Which lessons did you find easy? And which lessons did you find hard? This is the most important chart here. Things that you find difficult in Unit 2, because you can write them here and you can go and revise them and ask some of your colleagues or maybe your teacher to help you with them. So what lessons that you find easy in Unit 2, maybe the theme itself, the reading lesson, and so on, and things that you find difficult, maybe the grammar or the form, meaning, and function. And here is a checklist to get more details here. Checklist for Unit 2. Things that you do very well. So things that are easy for you. Things that you do this quite well, and things that you need to make more practice, to practice more, and to study more. Talk about food myths. Talk about food myths. If you remember the first lesson, we talked about food myths, some myths about food, like the fish in Japan, and the chocolate, and the frozen and the fresh vegetables, and so on, and how apples, potatoes, and onions all taste the same when eaten while holding your nose. So did you find this lesson, these articles, were they easy or hard for you? So talking about food myths, if you understand if you understood the lesson very well, you put it here. Quite well, check here. If you think you need more practice, check here. Discuss eating habits. Offer, accept, and decline food and drink. If you want to offer food or accept a food someone is offering, or decline food and drink, please help yourself too. Would you like to try that? These are all offerings here. Can I give you some more chocolate, for example? Thanks. I'd love a little, or I'd love some more. Here you are accepting. No, thank you. Here you are declining. Thank you, but I couldn't eat another bite. I'm stuffed. So Is this easy or hard for you? Use phrasal verbs. If you remember the phrasal verbs are made of a verb plus a particle. For example, pick at, pick on, pick out, pick up, and so on. So phrasal verbs are made of two words, the verb and a particle. These are some examples here. To pick on. My sister picks on me for being vegetarian. Picks on means to tease. Certain prepositions and adverbs called particles when they are used with phrasal verbs. Then we took the separable and non-separable phrasal verbs. If you remember, some of them we can separate them. Some separable verbs are, some phrasal verbs are non-separable. The noun or the pronoun always follows the particle. I ran into Rima. I can't say I ran Rima into. So these are non-separable. The separable one here, to cut up. For example, the chef cut up the steak, or you can say the chef cut the steak up. So you can separate those. So this is the separable and non-separable noun phrases. Use three-word phrasal verbs. If you remember the three-word phrasal verbs here, three-word: catch up on, come down with, come up with, drop out of. So these are three words, three-word phrasal verbs. Know about count and non-count nouns and expressions of quantity. If you remember the count, non-count nouns, the nouns that we can count or the nouns that we can't count. This is the count nouns: burger, burgers, egg, eggs. So we put S for plural. The non-count nouns name things that you can't count. For example, rice or tea. They don't use the articles a or an, and they don't have plural forms, as in the S here. They don't have plural forms. Some nouns can be count or non-count. A salad or some salad. A soup or some soup, and so on. The expressions of quantity: some or any. If you remember, some comes with affirmative statements. Any comes with negative statements and also with questions. Also here, the use of would like. Would like. Would like is a polite way. If you remember, it's a polite way to ask for a preference. I would like some water. I'd like some milk. What would you like? This is a question form here. What would you like? Would you like some mustard on it? And so on. And as I mentioned, would like is a polite way to state a choice or a preference. Then to list your 5 new words from Unit 2. So from Unit 2, of course, from this unit you can come up with more than just 5 words. So list them here. And if you're not sure about something from Unit 2, read through the unit again, listen to the audio material, study the grammar and function from the unit again, and always, if all doors are closed, you can always ask your teacher for help. And with that, we reach the end of this lesson. See you next lesson, inshallah. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum.